about who you are as an MC really makes your sound more complete to a listener. You bring up KRS-One, you both have some type of way, because he obviously was an influence. KRS-One said, if you read a book but you don't know the author, you really don't know the book. So, in getting to know you, let's start with Push Buttons. Judgment is a song that I love, because not only is it insightful, it's like a punch in the face. Because hip-hop has a lot of critics. Outside critics who don't appreciate our culture, and inside critics who are jealous. And one thing about Judgment that I really love was the fact that the person has to be brave enough to be themselves rather than follow the crowd. And even in one instance in the video, you have the gentleman that goes into the computer and he's really delving into knowledge. As a visual artist and as a written spoken artist, what is the battle that you fight within yourself as an artist to make sure your message is true, given properly, and to nurture the person who's listening to understand you?
In a nutshell, to actually really know what you're talking about, and to have actually, in other words, if I speak about something, it's because I have done extensive research in that, or life experiences taught me that. It's never just said on the whim. It's not just said just to sound, as they say, heavy, sound intelligent. You know, you can research these things that I bring up. You know, I can reference you to authors and things like that, of where you can find the same thing I found, because you can get it just like I got it. I'm no different.
Okay. And Ed, on that same line, even when I watch your videos, your body language speaks more towards your style than your rapping. One thing I know, it's like whenever you rhyme, when you make a punchline, you turn your body, because it's like you said what you had to say and then you want them to sit with it. As an MC and body language being a part of an MC and visual art, how important is it for you to leave them with something rather than just bombard them with words?
It's important. I believe it's important. It's very important, because it makes whoever's listening think more. It makes you, I don't think I could make it in any better words. It makes you think more. And as a people, period, that's great. To think more is perfect. What better could you get?
Well, you know what's funny? In hip hop, I've heard people say, I don't like hearing lyrics because ain't nobody trying to think. I've heard that. I've heard people say, look, man, I just want to dance. And I'm like, all right, well, you might as well get into club music. Just the same way, though, I've heard people criticize jazz because there's no words. It's just all music. It's hard as an artist to find a genre, but as an artist, how fulfilling is it for you to make your genre? You go first.
Well, I'm not entirely understanding what you mean by make your genre.
Well, I like to say this. No artist comes out with a formula. They come out with a style. It's the industry that makes you want a formula. The industry says, yo, make a club hit, make a girl hit, go street. Talk about killing somebody. In Legend, that's why I heard the Rakim and Dr. Dre album never came out. Because Dre wanted Rakim to talk about murder, and Rakim was like, I don't live that way. I can't talk about that. And when another legend in hip hop is when Rakim was spitting My Melody, Marley Marl didn't want to record it because he thought it was whack. And he said, like, yo, it's not fast enough. Can you put more energy in it? And MC Shan tried to talk him into spitting different. He was like, yo, can you just let me record the song? And if you don't like it, then it is what it is. But this is me. And when Rakim did it, he made his lane. That was his message. His genre came forth, which was intelligent, insightful, jazz spoken lyrics. So as an artist, it's important for you to make your lane by being an individual. So as an individual, it's hard, but how meaningful is it that when you have so much negativity come your way as an artist to make that lane heard, understood, and appreciated? Like, how does that hit you?
It's hard. hard. That's what it is. But that's very important to establish your presence and your this is me. Like, to your point, if Rakim had not done that and he would have did that, Rakim would not have been as big as he is now. Rakim wouldn't have been as big as an influence as he is now. Because Rakim is one of my musical influences. That's why I am, so that's, not other than him, of course, that's why I try to put more consciousness into my lyrics. So imagine if he didn't put his foot down and say, no, this is me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And Push, I mean, I don't even want you to answer that question because I want to pose it to you a different way. In the annals of hip-hop that I know of, and I don't know everything, went like this. You had the Dozens. You had people who even scattered in jazz, which was hip-hop, okay? You had Dolomite and all of them, right? You had Busy B. Kool Moe Dee was the changing of the guard from Busy B. Then from the shouting Curtis Blow antics, not shouting, but you know what I mean, came the Rakims, which slowed it down and made it more lyrical. Though you say that's your influence, in Jersey hip-hop, your sound influenced a lot of people on the low, and I say on the low because they never said your name, which is a shame. Your sound influenced a lot of people because in the Lakim Shabazz line, you brought forth not only integrity in bars, but you brought forth insightful, meaningful integrity. Not just I'm black and proud, but I'm proud to be alive and this is my skill. How does it now feel to know that people may have missed that, but now you got a son who's taking up that mic behind you and bringing that to the next cloth that's clothing the generations of hip-hop today?
Well, the first part, to those who may have missed it, I'm a firm believer that what's for you, you got to get. You see what I'm saying? And if you just look at those words themselves, that if it's for you, how can anybody else get it? You see what I'm saying? It's just about being patient and letting it fall upon itself when it needs to. So that's to those who didn't get it. But the mission didn't stop with me putting him in the seat of driving and I'm just in the back as the navigator. It didn't stop there. You see what I'm saying? He still has the mission statement. Once we get the treasury behind us that we need, then you'll get the push buttons back on the mic that speaks to the masses on the scale of intellectual lyrics only, you know, that whole wave that I'm about. And then reaching out to appeal to those followings of that kind of music. You need a budget for that. You know, we know you need a budget for that. Right now, the only one that's really more inclined to that is overseas. You see, they really embrace real true hip hop in its purest form. Over here, they want more, like you said, they want to dance, they want to vibe out, you know. So my job is to try to give Mattic a balance of that with me, with my presence of being around, not me pushing his pen on what to do, just me being around as an MC of conscious lyrics, and him being an artist of feel good vibe party music, and you know, and hopefully he'll take what I'm giving him and put it in his own way, you know. If that answers your question.
Well, it does, because one thing about hip hop has been relegated as a young man's game, which is not actually. Hip hop is, if hip hop really is a culture, it is fortified through the strength of the youth, but maintained by the wisdom of the elders. You see what I'm saying? And I can tell you that as someone who I feel like, and with myself, I'm a mid-generation type guy. I'm definitely not this generation. But if you were somebody who grew up in the 90s, you were stuck in between two separate generations. You saw the true era, the golden era, and then the new school come in, and it was a perfect blending of styles. Now we don't have that. And I think it's unfair. Ib, I want you to talk on this. It's very unfair now that the patriarchs of your styles for this culture and generation actually separated the genre, you know? And I say it's very unfair that when people say, well, the new artists don't respect the old, or they don't know about the old, for one, the elders, if they didn't introduce you to it, it's hard to label you from it. And then I hear that, you know, y'all, because I would put you in that generation as being under 2000 and whatever, like 2007 era. You were like, well, how old? 2007.
I was 5 and 2.
So then anything after 2007 has been considered now new school or new age hip hop or trap or mumble rap or trash or whatever some people call it. But if people who sing now never studied Motown, how faulty is it for us to label those who have not studied the 80s, you know what I'm saying, as not being true to the art? So in this generation, what makes you true to the art, and what makes you stand out amongst your peers and makes hip hop real, not only to you but to the culture through your eyes?
Because, like you said, I have a balance. I was showed the balance. Although, with my production as well as the songs I make, they make you feel good. They make you feel like dancing. But at the end of the day, those bars and the words I choose still show you, okay, there's a balance here. You get that real hip hop feel when you're listening to the lyrics, and you also get that party. I want to party and dance. You get both together, and that's what makes me stand out as an artist, in my opinion.
Like Father, Like Son Productions.
Yeah, I be. Look, I told my little homie, listen, this is not for beginners. If they ain't tryna keep it real, I need you to keep your distance. Told them they ain't finna give it. You want it, then you gotta win it. And if they ever flex on you, when you do it, no forgiveness.
Hey, young boy, you getting older now, but just stay humble. And some get mad, that's how the cookie crumbles. Long as you keep it real, you do your numbers. Cause real recognize real.